Welcome back. Very few leaders from the 120-nation non-aligned movement gathered in Venezuela over the weekend in what President Nicolas Maduro had touted would be a meeting to be remembered for centuries. The only notable African leader at that meeting was Zimbabwe's President Robert Mugabe. Even India, which is co-founder and key member of the group, did not send its prime minister to the meeting. Venezuela itself is struggling to come out of a serious economic crisis.
International delegations arrived in Venezuela's Caribbean island of Margarita on Tuesday for the 17th Non-Aligned Movement Summit, a meeting which brings together nations not formally aligned with or against major power blocs. Set up in 1961, the Non-Aligned Movement provided an alternative for nations who did not back either the United States or the Soviet Union during the Cold War. Heads of state from the 120-nation Cold War were invited, but only leaders of Zimbabwe, Iran, Cuba, Bolivia, and Ecuador thought to have attended. The summit began in full swing on Thursday, with organizers hoping it will offer solidarity to President Nicolas Maduro's socialist government. Despite opponents' hopes, the event would expose his international isolation. A version of the final document circulating among diplomats only echoed Maduro's complaints that local opponents have been planning violence against him with help from the United States. Critics say those are trumped-up accusations to justify repression and distract Venezuelans from blaming the ruling Socialist Party for the OPEC member nation's economic mess. Venezuela's opposition has been stepping up street protests to demand a recall referendum against Maduro, whose security forces have been cracking down on activists and displaying weapons as a proof of what they say are coup plans. To the country's foreign minister, Delcy Rodriguez, Venezuela is just another country being attacked by imperialists. Then the attention turned to Syria, for which Iran's foreign minister, Mohammad Javad Zarif, said intervention of Iraq, Syria and Palestine leads to extremism. He said the tragedy of Palestine, the center of anger and desperation felt in the Muslim, is at the heart of this crisis. But the Palestinian foreign minister, Riyad al-Maliki, condemned the Israeli occupation of Palestine territory. He said without international intervention, the situation cannot be reversed. He said it was time to use collective power to end the Israeli occupation and force them to comply with international law. North Korea joined the conversation, saying it was ready to launch another attack against the provocations of the United States, with bombers last week flying over South Korea in a show of solidarity with its ally after Pyongyang's last nuclear test. North Korea set off its most powerful nuclear blast to date this month, saying it had mastered the ability to mount a warhead on a ballistic missile and ratcheting up a threat that its rivals and the United Nations have been powerless to contain.
Now will be a good time to check in on the latest discussions in diplomatic circles, and we'll be right back. Syria's ambassador to the UN, Bashar Jafari, says the deadly airstrikes by US-led coalition were aimed at sinking the fragile US-Russia ceasefire plan, escalating tensions over Syria deal between Russia and the US. He also denounced the violation of Syrian sovereignty as very costly. His comments come on the back of Moscow saying the strikes threatening the implementation of the ceasefire plan for Syria and bordered on connivance with the Islamic State. Three Indonesian fishermen held by Islamic State-linked rebels in the Philippines have been released just hours after the militias freed a Norwegian man after a year-long deal. The Norwegian national was taken from an upscale resort on Samal Island in Davao del Norte along with a Filipina who has already been freed. Militants attacked an Indian Army brigade headquarters near the de facto border with Pakistan on Sunday, killing 17 soldiers in one of the most deadly attacks in the northern region of Kashmir in a quarter-century-old insurgency. And that's the program this week. To watch this again, go to our website, www.channelstv.com. Leave us a comment on Twitter or on Facebook. The addresses are right on your screen. I am Amarachi Ubani. I'll see you next time.